All right, it's Monday. It's the Jeff Dubay Show. It's a Masters Monday. It's a Minnesota Monday because, our sports teams often let us down. It is what it is. We've grown accustomed to it, sadly. But the reason this is kind of a Minnesota Monday is because if you are a Minnesota sports fan, teams that you do hate, or at the very least should hate, and if you don't, get on the hate bandwagon, for God's sake. They had just a god-awful week. It was fantastic to see a kid from Apple Valley take down Bo Ryan and the Badgers. And I didn't really shed a tear when Jack Eichel and the BU Terriers took down the North Dakota Fighting Who on the last Thursday night. So it was like victory, just by proxy, for Minnesota sports fans throughout the week. Jay Kautt, my good buddy, has been an Inner Circle member for 15 years, I suppose, since he showed up and just housed everybody at where was it? It was Egan Sensors.
Sensors in Egan.
Yeah, that's right. Sensors
the
Egan.
Old Cracker Barrel.
The old Cracker
right
Barrel.
Up on that. All right, we're there.
And I've known Jay ever since. As a matter of fact, you've won numerous PA and Dubay contests. I mean, they came back in the round of champions or something. And,
yes, back in my younger years when I had a lot of time on my hands.
And took Rich Kotite guy deep.
That's right.
That's a blast from the past.
One of the all-time best.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Jay's also an avid golfer and golf. Do you still compete? You still play in the AM and all that?
I actually played in and made the cut in the Minnesota State Open last year.
Wow. Well done. Where was it?
Bunker Hills.
Okay. It's still as good a track as ever. I used to love that place.
I really liked it. They've really improved the practice facilities, and you play the original 18 holes. It's a great layout, great place to have the tournament.
Yeah, it is. I get it with the TPC and everything, but the senior event isn't the same since I left Bunker, as far as I'm concerned. Nick Peters was supposed to be here, a.k.a. Hastings golf guy. I don't know where he is, in my Inner Circle. Remember the Inner Circle? He bailed on me. But maybe he knew that potentially we'll be out down his neck of the woods tomorrow. It's Twins Tuesday has found a new home. It is Floyd's in Victoria. For those of you in the Western Metro, we are coming every Tuesday. Twins Tuesday at Floyd's in Victoria. I was going to say official announcement to come soon, but that was it right there. It's over.
There it is. It's
taken care of. I'll take
breaking news as it happens
questions
here.
Now? No, that's going to cover it. But Jay is a great golf mind, and first and foremost on our minds today is the Masters. It is Masters Monday, at least for us. It is the tournament wrapped up yesterday, but as far as I was concerned, it was almost over Thursday. I mean, how good is this kid? How good is Jordan Spieth?
He is very, very good. And when you let's think about the U.S. and the Ryder Cup for a while. In the past, we've been getting killed in the Ryder Cup because we can't make any putts. And this kid can roll the putter. And the unique thing he does at some putts, when he gets into that closer range, he looks at the hole while he putts it. And on some putts, he looks at the golf ball. And the calm, the cool, the demeanor he has, he carries himself like a 35-year-old veteran, and he has the hairline to match, unfortunately.
Yeah, he does. He does not look 20 years old.
No. It's the only negative thing Jordan's got going is the hairline is going away.
Yeah.
But he was so solid and so steady. And
he can afford plugs, by the way.
That's right. The thing that really got me, and did it win him the tournament, did it not, but making that up and down on 18 on Saturday. He had just doubled 17. He blew it right into the Greg Norman zone on 18 up in the crowd, and he hit that flop shot into the fridge down to 7-8 feet, made the putt, and it just kind of stopped the bleeding from the double bogey, and his dinner probably tasted a lot better making par walking off the 17th hole or the 18th hole on Saturday.
Well, and I know that this isn't what won or lost it when you win by such a wide margin. But to me, a good moment to just show the maturity and just the understanding of where you are and what's at stake. He's up by 6. It's, they say the Masters going to start to the back 9 on Sunday. It was over by the back 9 Saturday for all intents and purposes. But he's on number 11, and he's hit it well right, and he's in the trees, and he takes the time, gets caddy walks all the way down to the green, scouts out how severe sloping right to left it is, and not water, not even in the thought. I mean, he takes it. They have to move the gallery back to farther into the right rough for second cut as it is, and he just as safe as could be. Just carves something up the right side that funnels down just front right of the green, and then he's right in Sandy Lyle territory, and he's got no worries at all with a 6-shot lead.
That's exactly right. He thinks his way around the golf course very, very well, and at that point, he's 21 years old, but he's been watching the Masters forever, and he's able to handle himself in the moment. I think it did make a difference that he was in the final group last year already as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
But just
Plouffe. Yes.
Oh, we got live home runs happening.
Yes, we do. Trevor Plouffe. But anyway.
But his maturity and his ability to think himself away around that golf course is very, very impressive.
Yeah. So is he 20 or 21 right now?
He's 21 right now.
Okay, so he was able to celebrate with a cold one last night if he so desired.
Legally.
I mean, I was thinking to myself, it's kind of odd that I could win a Masters and not have a beer to celebrate. Just a little strange. If he's on the Ryder Cup team, they'd have to keep the champagne on ice or go non-alcoholic. Well, of course, they wouldn't have to worry about that because he's on the losing. He'd be on the losing side. What do you think of Tiger? Tiger had a bizarre weekend, didn't he? I mean, Thursday. Thursday was as entertaining a Masters round. I mean, he saw every inch of that course. He saw places you're never meant to see.
He hits it all over the place, and that's what is some people who are really into golf and watch the Golf Channel, and sometimes Brandel Chambly, who is the best golf analyst there is and does the most homework. He's really, really, really hard on
maybe
Tiger.
The least tough straight man in America, though. I mean, it's like if I could have to pick out one straight guy in America to beat up, it'd be Brandel Chambly.
Just because of name?
All 5'9" of them.
He's pretty soft.
But he's exactly right that Tiger, no matter what you think, and the way the short game came back was pretty much amazing, but he's never going to be consistently competitive with how he drives the golf ball.
I know.
It is.
And Augusta, you can get away with it to an extent. And if there's a place you can.
The birdie he made on 13 Saturday, are you kidding me? Colin Montgomery that night said, nobody knows this, but there's a John 120 yards left of the 13th fairway. I think Tiger knocked it off the potty up in the woods. But even his first tee shot Sunday morning with Rory, he takes 3-wood out on one and he duck hooks it over into the 9th fairway. And then the whole a bone popped out of joint on my wrist. Please,
I'll tell you this.
Come on.
I don't know why I pull for Tiger. I guess I do because golf's more interesting when he's in the mix. But nobody plays up injuries the way he does. And I know that in 2008 it was legit. I mean, we're watching him limp around and hobble around. I'm thinking he's maybe a little dramatic. We find out after he wasn't.
He destroyed that knee.
But every time other golfers have hit roots and they don't shake their wrist for the next 5 holes as they walk along. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he does like the attention.
He does, and the other thing is, when he hit that tee shot on 13 on Saturday, he started dropping the F-bombs and the whole deal and went off.
Yeah.
And he never, and it's a little thing, but he never goes back and says, I was wrong there. Where you've seen Rory, when he walked off the course at Honda, apologize for it. Spieth had a meltdown last year. He apologized for it. Tiger just doesn't take responsibility for anything.
No, he takes himself so seriously, too. It's really annoying.
Was it fun to kind of sort of have him in the fringes of the mix? Yeah, because I loved watching Rory kick his ass on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, do you think... You know what? Well, here's what I can't figure out. Here's what is just continually stumping me, is how did he get back to number one and then fall again to where he is now? Because, I mean, he came back from the injuries, and he came back from the divorce meltdown and then the domestic, and he became number one again. Now, to me... Considering how poorly he played in the majors, it was kind of a hollow number one. It was kind of a
Luke Donald number one?
Luke Donald number one, yes. It was a Luke Donald number one. That's the name I was looking for. It was kind of empty, but nonetheless, he did do it. And then after getting to number one again, he falls off the map again.
Well, what I think, this is a totally uneducated opinion. There might be evidence behind it, but he took stuff. And I think he overtrained. I think he worked out too much. I think he took stuff. And he's 39 years old, and your body starts falling apart and can't recover as quickly. That's the one thing. I don't think Rory's going to take anything, but you see him now, and he is thick, and he is fit, and he is built. And there's some concern of people say he needs to stop lifting weights. And I think Tiger did the same thing. He turned himself into more of
he was a beast,
bodybuilder look.
Yeah.
And part of it is how he's wired.
That got him laid, though. You got to admit.
What, Waffle House waitresses? I mean,
I'd take it.
But he's so competitive that if he wanted to,
anyways,
if he wants to go up for a 5-mile run, he wants to be the best person at that 5-mile run, and I think some of that's been to his detriment. And I do think at some point, when your name is tied in with who's that? Anthony Galea, see the fuzzy A-Rod doctor in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Tiger's been hooked in with him. His name's been, so something.
But hey, A-Rod's making a comeback, so
that's right.
Anything's possible.
That's right. So to answer your question in a very long-winded fashion, I think he's having a much harder time recovering from these injuries. It's taking its toll. He's making yet another swing change.
You You know, Jordan Spieth, they said, has had the same coach since he's 12.
Yep.
So take a note, Tiger.
Yep.
Seriously.
Sergio doesn't win, but same coach his whole life. Rory, pretty much the same thing. He can't keep making these changes, but I will give him credit. The short game was a 180-degree turn. It was night and day. But you're right. For the average viewer and for the average golf fan, it is better when he's in the mix because we all remember how damn good he was and how dominant he was.
Is he done? I don't think he's going to win a major again. Do you? That's what I mean by done.
If you put a gun to my head, I would say no. It would not surprise me if he somehow conjured it up and won 1 or maybe 2. There's no way he's tying Nicklaus. There's no way he's breaking it. If you said make a wager, I would say no.
I'd say it's impossible to imagine him winning the U.S. Open. I can see him getting lucky at Augusta or at the Open Championship. Because he could blast it anywhere and get lucky.
Yep.
I mean,
you get on the good side of a weather draw the first couple days, and so you're only competing with half the field or something like that. But a U.S. Open and a PGA.
No, I just can't. I can't, especially U.S. Open.
And people say Augusta, he's won 4 green jackets, but he hasn't won one since 2005.
That has been a while. And then they have changed the course quite a bit in the last 10, 15 years as well. I remember the term they'd like to use is tiger proof, which is a stupid term.
Silliness.
Because when they first changed Augusta by stretching it out, they took most of the field out and made it better for Tiger.
Right. That's right.
So, I mean, but they have changed it a lot. He can't get away with just blasting it everywhere like he did in '97. You can't do that.
Yeah,
anymore.
they put too many pine trees in the way.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, because when you don't have any legitimate rough, there's got to be some penalty for spraying it.
Well, and that goes to the whole debate. You know, you watch golf tournaments and commentators say, oh, it's so boring to have a birdie fest every week. And then, you know, you go to these tournaments in Florida, the Florida swing, and 6 under par is winning, and they're just horrible to watch.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it this weekend when they're making birdies and eagles, and who cares if they were a whole bunch under par? It's so fun to watch it at that golf course.
Well, what's so amazing about Augusta, I think it's an underrated element that people don't always pick up on watching on TV unless you really are listening intently to what they're talking about. You're not like when people like me play golf, we're trying to hit a green. When you're at Augusta, you've got to hit a spot, and if you're going to miss, you've got to miss in the right spot. Or, I mean, the greens are so undulate, and they weren't as fast.
That's what they said.
Yeah, the weather helped with that.
But although I will say this, by Sunday the course was playing the way it normally plays, which is kind of a shame because it didn't allow for any movement on the leaderboard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, there were so many birdies out there the first 3 days, but then by Sunday it was just like nobody had it in him to make any kind of move. The course just wasn't going to allow for it.
Rose tried early. He did what he could do. He birdied 1 and 2, and he tried.
That flop up and down, was it 10? He played the right side of I think it was. Well, he played down the right side of this hole, right through the trees the whole way. His drive was right. He tried to punch out and didn't get all the way out, and then had just a great flop shot where he used the backboard and checked it up for a great par save. I think it was 10. It was a par 4 in the back 9. But
the interesting thing too, I have not been to Augusta personally. I had a good friend who was down there this week, and he said the greens are comical when you see them in person. To your point about you got to hit to a spot.
Yeah.
And the second thing he said, now I know why Phil Mickelson and Bubba Watson are so comfortable with this golf course. He goes, it moves so much right to left in so many places. It's so easy for those lefties to get up there and hit some big floppy cut.
Yeah.
And he said, just absolutely sets up for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I remember when Common Man went down there for the first time. He got down there for some practice rounds. And he didn't stay for any of the competitive rounds. He was there like on Tuesday, Wednesday. And the thing that struck him that no one will ever get on TV is how the just drastic changes in elevation. I mean, I think it's just up and down, up and down. It doesn't look like it on TV, but I mean, 9 is straight up a hill and 10 is straight down a hill. And it's not just downhill. I mean, it is like. I mean, if you drop your ball on the edge of the ninth green, it rolls back 100 yards.
And remember,
it does. It really does.
Yeah.
In the Adam Scott Angel Cabrera playoff a few years ago, Cabrera hit an iron off a 10. That's how downhill, and he just hit this low hooking 2-iron and just ran it down that hill forever, and he was barely behind Adam Scott's 3-wood.
Huh. Wow. I don't even remember that. But I mean, that is just a drastically. I mean, yardage wise, it measures out to be massive. I mean, it's like this,
75, 76.
I'm talking about the 10th hole. I mean, it's the toughest hole on the course, I think, isn't it? But in relation to par?
11.
Okay, so I know 10, 11, 12 are the three most. Amen Corner has the three most difficult to par. They put the graphic up yesterday. The three most over par holes in history of the Masters. Not in order, but we're 10, 11, and 12.
And I think 11 plays 505 when they stretch it all the way back there. Because that second shot's way down the hill to the water.
Yeah, and when they put the pin left, it's just absolutely devilish.
It's a chipping contest. Everyone just hits it out to the right and tries to get
it was, it was Sandy Lyle who chipped in to win there, wasn't it?
Larry Mize.
Larry Mize. God, why do I always say Sandy Lyle when I mean Larry Mize?
Well, because Mize won it in 87 over Norman, and Sandy Lyle won it in 88. You're right
God
there.
Dang it, I meant Larry
right
Mize.
there.
Mize chipped in and sudden death to beat. Why would they be on 11? Where does the playoff start?
I think back then they started on 10.
Did they really? What a weird hole to use in a playoff.
So they just went in order. They went 10, 11. They just started on the back 9.
Okay.
And I think fairly recently they started that we're going to play 18, and then they go to 10 because Adam Scott beat Cabrera with a birdie on 10.
Okay, I got you. I feel you. Hey, let's get our first break in. Jeff Dubay, Jay Kautt, Jason McGovern, Jeff Dubay Show on a Monday.
With Suhan Unfiltered, sports columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Jim Suhan presents in-depth conversations with the best writers and sports personalities in the area. Suhan brings professional journalism flavor without the verbal censoring. Find out what unfiltered really means. Only on the Alive and Social Network. SuhanUnfiltered.com.
What are you drinking tonight, Jason?
The Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly.
I'm drinking the Lickbridge Hop Dish.
It's Pub Talk from a Minnesotan perspective.
I'm always really proud of where I'm from. I'm super proud of Minnesota, and I think Minneapolis is awesome. I think St. Paul is awesome. I think they're a really awesome cultural epicenter.
With great local guests.
So the other voice you hear in the room today is Jerry Fagerberg from the City Pages. Talk about the official Minnesota Tall Boy, which your piece is on the cover of the City Pages today.
It is on the cover, came out today.
Talking movies.
All right, you saw Boyhood. I need to hear what you thought.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Sports.
A guy who was undrafted knew what was coming.
And everything else you talk about at the pub.
Let's not pretend like we know what we're talking about.
Well, what do you think I do every show?
The Minnesota Pubcast with Jason McGovern and Molly Burke. Listen at mnpubcast.com or subscribe on iTunes.
We want to just find meaning in life.
We're back. We're talking a little Masters, a little golf. Got other things we're going to get to. Jeff Dubay Show on a Monday. Puppy. I love that one. Went home with the waitress. You're just ripping on CBS for the coverage a little bit. It's changed in recent years. Now Augusta National is a different animal. I mean, they call the shots.
They control everything.
Everything, and it is very strict. If people wonder, hey, how come I see Gary McCord on CBS every week and I don't see him Masters Week? It's because one year he said the greens were so fast that they bikini waxed them. The powers that be at Augusta said, get Gary McCord the fuck out of here and don't ever let him come back. For that.
You forgot the other one.
What's the other
There's so many undulations in the greens, it's like there's body bags hidden in there.
Oh, Joe. And there might be. That's the scary thing. Is it probably you might have struck a nerve.
It was a double whammy for Gary. But yeah, you're right. Augusta controls everything. And I think part of what it is they don't want to take away from the experience of the folks that actually come down to the tournament.
You never hear the word gallery. They cannot say the word gallery.
Patrons.
Yeah, they're patrons.
Not front 9, back 9, first 9, second 9.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't noticed that one. That is anal.
Yep. But one of the nice things for the people that go there is a beer's $3, a sandwich is $1.50 or whatever.
Isn't that unbelievable?
All the prices they keep way down. My beef with the CBS coverage is it won't change. One is Nick Faldo. He's horrible. He doesn't do any homework. He doesn't bring anything to the broadcast.
He does too. He's got an accent.
Two is the constant. So the leaders make the turn, and then they do this 5-minute seemingly vignette of what they've all done on the front 9 while live golf is going on, and they always on Sunday end up just showing like 4 players.
Yeah, they really do focus at the end.
And it's, come on, show us some other golf, show us some other things going on. I understand that their hands are tied, and I think it would be a better event if they kissed and made up and let McCord show up there. I think McCord has too much pride to ever let that happen. But I don't like Faldo Nance has become so rehearsed with his
his
little things.
His tagline. He's got to have a big tagline
Yep.
at the end. He's got to be the story. It's so annoying.
The kids grew up dreaming to be like Mike. Now they want to be like Jordan or whatever he said at the end of yesterday.
It's always cornball.
I think the NBC golf coverage is far superior to what's on CBS. But that's just my beef. Rumbling,
listening.
No, but you know what? But what's a shame is that NBC lost USGA rights to Fox.
Yep.
How's Fox can do that? One's a bad one. Sorry, guys. It's like Greg Norman's the lead analyst there, right?
Greg Norman, Brad Faxon. Unfortunately, I think Joe Buck is going to be in the announcer's chair. I think he is. I think it's Joe Buck. But they bring your gal Holly Saunders into the mix, so there you go.
I don't think I know Holly Saunders.
She's the old Golf Channel
okay, I know what you're
trophy
talking about. Yep.
gal.
Okay. So have you seen any Fox golf yet?
Why don't you use your Googles? You'll find Holly Saunders.
Use the Google machine?
Yeah. No, the U.S. Open is their debut, I do believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a big stage for your
Right.
first show.
And then I think they'll have the USAM and all the USGA things.
Yeah. So when's the next Ryder Cup? Is it this year or the next year?
It is in
It's
16
at Hazeltine.
At Hazeltine.
So
So next fall.
do you think it'll be weird for?
Wait a minute. It's in October at Hazeltine.
Yeah.
Well, because they push it back because there's Olympic golf that year too.
Oh, really?
One, are they going to have enough daylight? And two, let's cross
Yeah.
our fingers that it's not 40
seriously.
degrees.
Awful
Let's hope we
temperature.
get lucky.
And there could be. I mean, boy, talk about having to
Leaves.
Yeah, the leaf issue.
Yep.
But do you think it'll be? I guess it's 2 years off. But could it be a little weird for? But maybe by then, Jordan Spieth could be the face of American golf. I mean, if he's
He
not,
will be.
I mean, it's 2 years from now, and he could be the number one player in the world. He could actually put a gap between him and Rory. Who knows? I mean, he might become that kind of giant star. How weird would it be to be a 21-year-old playing in your first Ryder Cup and you'd be the guy that everyone's looking to, and you got Tiger and
He
Phil.
played.
Oh, he's in last year's?
Yeah.
My bad. Okay.
He and Patrick Reed were the only two Americans that did anything.
Okay, but nonetheless, do you think how weird would it be to have to take a leadership role at 21 when there's guys like Rory and not Rory, like Phil and Tiger in that locker room?
I don't think Phil or Tiger are going to play.
Really?
Phil might. My buddies and I have talked about this. We really hope for 16 that they go young. I mean, how many more times can you trot out Phil, Tiger, Jim Furyk? Tiger wasn't on the last one.
Yeah.
Bless his heart, Zach Johnson, Hunter Mahan. Enough.
Yeah.
They've all gotten dusted. And there's plenty of good young talent out there. And Spieth will lead by his play. But you think Reed's 25 years old. He went, 3-1 in the Ryder Cup?
Dustin Johnson had a nice showing.
Or not.
Well, he made a comeback, didn't he? What did he fall apart? What did I miss?
He was on leave.
Dustin Johnson. Who am I thinking of?
He did not play in the Ryder Cup last
No,
year.
I'm talking about the Masters.
Oh, at the
Yeah.
Masters.
I'm talking about the
At
Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Masters.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about this cocaine issue. But that's the rumor, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, he denies it. He denies it
Correct.
vehemently. But
There's also rumors about Dustin and other tour wives. But anyway.
But Dustin. But I mean, he had a reasonable showing over the weekend.
Yes.
Didn't he?
Yes.
That's what. Oh Jesus!
Whoa.
Comes in with the bases loaded. Well, I'm sorry. I know this is not interesting for the people listening, but I mean, the guy comes in with the bases loaded.
Hits two guys in a row.
Hits a guy. You can't make it up. Oh my God. Well, I mean, Dunsing hit the first guy, then Graham comes in and hits the next guy. Jesus. I mean, that's an up and in. I mean, what are you doing?
That was a fastball at his hands.
was
What is he going for there?
I mean, with the bases loaded, nowhere to put him. You got a 2-run game in the 8th inning, and you're going to force him to run with this garbage. God, we're bad.
Back hit batters.
Back-to-back
The
hit.
Twins bullpen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but you know what? We're versatile. The first guy we brought in a lefty to hit the first guy, and got a righty to come in get the second guy, Dunsing and Graham. So we can get you from both sides.
I own the inside corner of the plate, said Cosmo Kramer once.
Yes, he punched Mickey Mantle.
That's right.
Who wasn't Mickey that was hitting? Who was crowding him? It wasn't Moose Scourin. It was something like some old.
Yeah. No, I'll think of it. Oh,
that's funny.
But no, I think we need to go young in the Ryder Cup. I really do. I would be actually shocked if Tiger makes the team. Shocked.
But what about Phil? It's just maybe some.
Phil will be 45 years old.
Wow.
He'll be 45. Tiger will be 40.
Wow. That's
Zach
amazing.
Johnson will be 40.
Huh.
So you could see a whole bunch of new young players like Brooks Koepka and
Oh Jesus.
names like that.
Brooks Koepka. You excited?
He's a good player.
All right.
He's a good player.
I've never heard of him.
Oh, he was in the Masters. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw him over the weekend.
Because he cut his teeth. He didn't go through Q school. He made it through the European Tour. He's an American player who went over and played the European Tour.
And what the?
He's 23 years old and hits it a mile, and he's good.
And so how do you get your card through the European Tour?
You just keep racking up enough points in Europe where you're allowed to get into some tour events here or get into World Golf Championships, and one thing leads to another, and you're here.
All right. So just other than Jordan Spieth, anything catch your eye over the weekend? Did you think going in that he was the favorite? A lot of people did. I mean, he played well at Houston.
He's been playing well for a month.
Yeah. Well,
My three-person stable was Spieth, Rory, and Jimmy Walker were the three I would have said.
People were hot for Jimmy Walker.
Walker's been great this year,
Dynamite.
too.
And he did nothing.
Yeah, it should happen.
He did nothing.
It's Augusta.
No, I thought it was good to see a guy like Paul Casey come back from multiple injuries.
God.
God, they suck.
The people are listening again. We're sorry for
I can't handle it.
The Twins are so bad. We just can't even. I mean, I'm going to try to just paint a picture for you. The Royals have runners on first and second with nobody out. Dunsey comes in, throws one pitch, and hits Gordon in the thigh. First pitch, done. So when the bases are loaded, we go get Graham. He comes in. First pitch, he hits a guy, forces in a run. Bases loaded, bring in the infield. Hard ground ball.
I can make that catch.
Hard ground ball right to Santana. I mean, infield in. It is straight at Santana. It is an easy, how we call the business, 6-1-3 double play. Rack them up. Couldn't have been any easier. I mean, at the very least, 6-2-3. I'm sorry. At the very least, you get the out at home. It's at least a 6-2 put out with the out at home, and quite possibly a 6-2-3 double play. And he boots it. Everybody's safe. So now the Twins have given away 3 runs. Hit, batter, run. Hit, batter, run.
Santana had all day right there, and he tried to backhand that ball, by the way, too.
The guy would have been dead rights at home. I don't know if you turned 2 on that, but it would have been dead rights at home.
Paul Molitor already has a look on his face of, get me out of here.
What am I thinking? What did I do?
How did this happen?
Oh, Minkiewicz is laughing. He's like, just wait. You get canned in 2 years, and I'll be up there with all my boys. That's how he's looking at it. Jimmy Walker went belly up. I had a hard time watching over the weekend. I'm going to tell you, I didn't watch it wire to wire because it lacked any drama. I mean, at what point did you know it was over?
I think Saturday when he got up and down on 18.
Yeah.
And then when he answered, right away when he answered Justin Rose's close shot in on the first hole, made the putt, you're like, he's here. He's there. He's not going away. Mm-hmm. He's not going belly up. He's going to win.
Yeah. How come? Why does 15 seem different to me? Have they done something to 15?
They put a bunch of trees down the left-hand side, so there can be times when you hit your drive into the fairway on 15 and you got to hook it around those trees or go over them.
People aren't as aggressive there with their second shots as they have been in the past, it seems to me.
They seem like they lay up a little bit more. But it was soft. Like Jason said, it was soft. They were going for it. They were sticking hybrids and long irons in there. But the danger is if you go over that green, as Spieth did on Thursday for his only bogey, it's no guaranteed up and down long of that green.
Well, isn't there water back there too?
Way back there, the water which is actually on 16 on the par 3.
Yeah, but there used to be a day where they put bleachers there. I don't know, do they still or do they not? But back in the day, they used to put bleachers behind the 15th green. And I think they took those out to bring that water into play.
Yeah, I don't ever remember bleachers there. We're gonna have to search the.
I thought there were back
file.
in the day. Yeah, we'll have to go in the Wayback Machine. The Twins now trail 9-3. God, what a just. But hey, Twins Tuesday tomorrow, everybody. We're at Floyd's in Victoria. Hey,
that ends our Twins talk for today. All right,
save it for tomorrow. Save it for tomorrow.
Man, what a week! I mean, they're on their way to 1-6, and oh my God, is Torrey Hunter playing center field right now?
You know what the Twins need?
Was that Torrey Hunter in center field? Oh my God, have things gotten that bad?
What the hell is happening?
Yeah,
the Twins need me to declare them dead like I did about the Wild the last time I was on your show.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Yes. You are the motivator.
That's right.
You are the straw that stirred the drink.
It was January 12th. 2 days later, they traded for Dubnyk, and the rest is history.
You know what?
Tell St. Louis kicks our ass.
I'm not the. I'll take credit when credit's not due, and since it's not due right here, I'll take it again. When the Wild traded for Dubnyk, I looked at the schedule in February and I said, hey, if there's going to be a run, it's really soft. They could do this here. So I wasn't shocked they went on some kind of run, but I'm going to tell you right now that they're one and done. They're not going to win a series. No. They're going to lose to St. Louis.
It was the absolute worst possible matchup they could ever hope for.
I know it's been this dream season, and everyone's all happy about it, but they're done.
Yeah, and I would have much rather played Anaheim, even though they're the number 1 seed, They had the worst goal differential of any of the 8 Western Conference teams to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And plus, I hate them.
On paper, St. Louis is the best team in the West. I wanted Nashville.
Nashville's tanking. I think Chicago wins that in 5.
Yeah.
I think Winnipeg gives Anaheim everything they want, and I would not be surprised at all if Winnipeg wins that series.
I mean, I think the Wild Blue Series is going to be a long series, but I think they're just too good.
Yep, they're too good. They're too big. They're too tough. If their goaltending goes awry, we go.
That's the big chance. That's the big chance. That sounds like they're going to go with Allen to start this thing off.
To be honest, Mike Yeo with options scares me. Now that everyone's healthy, now he's got to make a choice.
Now he can play.
Yeah, now he can figure out what his lineup is, and I think it's almost better when he's hamstrung.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you might be right. So the week that was, let's go back for 1 week ago tonight. Wisconsin Duke. And I wasn't able to even watch this game. I make it sound like a bad thing. I had a great night. We were at Bennett's and we did the shuttle to the game, and I was at the Wild Winnipeg game, which sucked. I mean, there's nothing worse than going to a hockey game and your squad gets shut out. I mean, there's not even you literally don't have a single moment of joy.
Well, especially with how many Jets fans are generally in the building.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as normal, I was told, but nonetheless, their presence was known. So I didn't even get to really see the game. I was following it on my phone as closely as I could, but I tell you what, it almost felt like Minnesota got him because of Tyus.
Because of Tyus. But let me tell you how dirty I felt waking up that morning knowing that the lesser of two evils was to cheer for the Duke Blue Devils.
I know.
It was as bad as it gets from a dilemma standpoint. I know. And these people who are friends of mine or you talk to said, we need Wisconsin to win for the Big Ten. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, you don't get it at all.
Absolutely not. Oh, there's no way. And I dislike Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Everything about Wisconsin I can't stand.
I'm with you.
I will tell you this.
Even your cabins in Iowa.
That's right.
People's cabins, technically northern Minnesota or Wisconsin, you're so anti that.
That's right.
You have a cabin in Iowa.
That's right.
He really does.
The
Lake Okoboji Jody.
There
or
you
something.
go.
It's Okoboji blow me.
Okoboji. Don't tell anyone, though. It's the best kept secret around.
So anyway, back to your hatred of Wisconsin, Mr. Iowa. Not that you love Iowa.
No, I don't. Just my wife's from there, so that's the greatest thing ever. I respect Bo Ryan as a coach. He's an unbelievable basketball coach.
Yeah, he is.
You win 4 Division III championships.
And supposedly he's a great guy. And he looks like a dick, but supposedly he's a really good guy.
He's a jackass when it comes to the game, and apparently he was a jackass after the game,
tell me what happened, because you're texting me, and I didn't understand what was going on.
So after the game, he gets asked the questions by Tracy Wolfson, and he just goes right into it. He goes, yeah, we couldn't play how we wanted to because of the hand checking tonight and how the game was. He basically blamed the officials for not allowing Wisconsin to play how they normally play, essentially suggesting that the game was too rough and tumble for them to run their offense.
Well, it wasn't too rough and tumble for them to take a 9-point lead.
That's right. And he said, we lead the country in offensive efficiency. We lead the country in avoiding fouling, but not tonight, not tonight. And then in the press conference afterwards, when you're given a chance to back down, he doubled down. And he would not give Duke credit, and he really hammered on the officiating, saying it didn't allow them to do what they wanted to do.
Didn't he whine about the one-and-done players, too?
Yes, he also made a crack in the press conference about, here at Wisconsin, we don't believe in the rent-a-player.
Well, okay.
Which Krzyzewski fired back about on Tuesday.
Bo Ryan's got every right to say something like that in reference to Kentucky. Kentucky is a fucking joke, and it disgusts me. And something's got to be done about how Kentucky does business. And if people are wondering what I'm talking about, basketball, but the way the season sets up, I mean, I don't know what Kentucky's class schedule looks like, but I'm assuming it's like most that you're done at the holidays. Like at Christmas, there's a Christmas break, and then you come back for spring quarter. If you're a freshman at Kentucky, here's what you do. Yeah, and you're going pro. You know before you set foot on campus, you're one and done. You take a couple of classes in the fall, just enough to keep you eligible, and you get a couple of C's, whatever, and that's fine. Winter break hits, you register for spring, you never attend. I mean, for a Kentucky basketball player, from Christmas through the NCAA tournament is not a student. He strictly is there to play basketball. And by the time they catch up with you and make you ineligible, you've got a goddamn agent. All right, it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
So I mean, they're a joke. Kentucky is making a joke out of college sports. I mean, people, don't like people bitch about Calipari because he's a gangster. He's the biggest cheater in the history of college sports. I mean, the guy's just dirty from top to bottom. But people just, I think, brush it off and just say, yeah, he's dirty, whatever. But I don't think they realize that his kids they're not even students. I mean, they're just literally guys off the street playing basketball. It's so fucking dirty. And the NCAA does need to do something about it. Having said that, it's not like that at Duke. And a guy like Okafor is not there pulling a Kenny Wall. All right, he's going. If you're at Duke, you're going to class. You're not playing. I mean, there are schools that are a little different.
Yeah, and Coach K has adjusted in the fact that he will take on those one and done or rental players, as Bo Ryan talked about. I mean, he's had more and more of them over the years. Corey Maggette, our guy Will Avery. Insert McHale joke here. Yeah. But yeah, you set up a culture like that, and I hadn't thought about it from the perspective of I'm done by spring break, so why would I ever go to class?
Exactly.
I didn't even think about
Kentucky kids don't go to class after Christmas.
Is the easiest job on the Kentucky campus the academic administrator for the basketball team?
Yeah, if you're the Kentucky's Gangelhoff, you've got it made.
That's right.
Now and that's the other element to this is you say, well, usually when a coach is dirty, it's along the lines of what's giving players to get them to come to campus. And then I'm not saying Calipari is or isn't, giving players anything that's illegal, but I'll tell you what he is giving them. He set up, like you said, he set up this culture. So when he goes into a kid's living room, a kid that is, somebody who's a top 10 talent, and he's on his way to the NBA, and that kid knows I'm not going to have to take a class after Christmas. That's
attractive.
Yes. For a kid who has got no interest in education, no interest in being a student athlete, and just wants to take the next step to the NBA, and he knows he's going to a place where he can take a light fall schedule and then nothing for the rest of the year, fucking right, he's going to sign on the dotted line. And that's how Calipari wins, and that's why he's so fucking dirty.
And they send 7 guys to the draft.
I mean, that was, and they do it so pridefully, and he makes such a joke out of it. Did you see the press conference?
They were all up there.
It's so fucking embarrassing. There's 7 guys in Kentucky warm-ups, and then Calipari, and he goes, well, here, let's do it this way. Anybody who's declaring early for the NBA draft, stand up. And none of them moved. And he goes, really? And then they all stood up. So it's some joke that he's proud of. He's making a mockery out of college basketball. It makes me fucking sick. It does. It makes my stomach turn. And I still wanted him to beat Wisconsin.
Yes. Check.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's just. And then Bo Ryan and every other college coach has every right to be fucking furious about what Kentucky does because it's goddamn cheating.
But aren't you just abusing a system that exists?
Yes,
it's not really
that's
your
correct.
fault.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
that's exactly right.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
And what's the cure? You make players play 2, 3, 4 years in college.
You make it either 2 years or none.
Yeah, I agree because the NFL has a rule that you are not eligible for the draft until you are 3 years removed from high school. So you either have to be a junior in college, eligibility wise, or a sophomore who had a redshirt year.
Or Max Williams.
But he's a redshirt sophomore.
Redshirt sophomore.
Yeah,
yep.
That's what I said. A sophomore who had a redshirt year. So God, he's going to be fucking good though. I love that guy. You got to put a rule like that in place. But now, the problem with that is then you wind up with kids sticking around in school who aren't really athletes, and they get carried, by the Gangelhoffs of the world. So, but there's no perfect system, and there never will be. But what they do right now in Kentucky, it's so fucking dirty, and it's so fucking sleazy, and it's within the rules, but it's fucking disgusting.
And the way I lean, when I was younger and really, really loved college basketball, I was like, make these kids stay. Now I'm old and I work. If they can make that living at 18, God bless them.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Let them go.
I agree. I've never had a problem with somebody leaving college because they're ready for their career. And it doesn't whether you're an athlete or you're going into whatever,
or if you drop out to start a business.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, if you are prepared for your professional life, whatever that's going to be, then go ahead. I mean, all this. Oh, you go to college to become a well-rounded person and meet others in other ways of life. Fuck you. You do not. You go to college to get a fucking job. You go to college to have a career and have a life. And if there's some fun times along the way, so be it. But you're not there to make yourself a better person or well-rounded. Give me a break.
And it's not for everybody.
No, it's not. It's not. And I'll tell you this, too. A lesson learned from the last year of Gopher hockey. When you've got a bunch of guys who are ready for the next level, And as a fan, you're always just kind of sitting there on the edge of your seat, waiting to hear, hoping they stick around. Don't, because they don't want. If once they're ready to go, they should go, because then they come back and they mail it in. They come back and they're fucking too cool for school. They know that they could be out making the money right now. They know as soon as this season ends, they can't get out fast enough. The Gophers would have been better off if that group would have just said goodbye a year ago.
It sounds like you might be also referring to number 26 in the year 2005.
You mean Mr. Vanek?
I'm not going to mention any names.
No, he actually came back on a team that had the great leadership with the Patolny and Quas group. So I thought he gave him a pretty good season. But who would be a good example of this would be Jordan Schrader. Jordan Schrader came back and gave the Gophers nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing when he was a sophomore.
I don't remember.
Oh, he was god awful. He just mailed it in. And he had the great freshman year, and then he had a chance to go pro, and he didn't. He came back as a sophomore. Was thinking about leaving in the middle of the year, like Oposo had done the previous year, but he remembered how much heat that he got for that, so he decided to stay for the whole year. He blew up at the World Juniors, he did nothing in the fall at TU, went to play for Team USA, and he led the team in scoring. It was fucking amazing, like all tournament team, and then came back and did nothing again for the rest of the year, and then signed and went pro. And it's just, I don't know. I just think when guys are ready to go. And it sounds all noble and hey boy, way to stick around and be a team player when they stay. Look at KG throwing out the opening pitch. That's kind of cool. But when they do that, I think you're running a real risk. That guys they're not really where they want to be, and they know they could be somewhere else, and the whole bit just gets stale.
Especially in college hockey, where the season lasts 6 months. They get to January and February and I should have done this or I should have done that.
Well, and their rights are already held. See, when it's basketball or basketball or football, you have to get through the season, declare for the draft, blah blah blah. But in hockey, these guys are
all signed. They're all under control.
They're drafted, or if they're not drafted, they're a free agent. So anybody on that team at any point during the season could go.
Right.
The season's going on, and your rights are either held or you're considered a free agent. So every single player that you see on the ice on any given weekend of college hockey could be in the NHL the following week. It is. It is what it is, and that's what happened with Oposo. The Islanders pressured him, and he just didn't have any choice. They put a heat on him. They wanted him out, and once a team does that, there's not much you can do. That's your future employer.
That's right.
So anyway, it's the Jeff Dubay Show for Monday. Final break. Back after this.
Join longtime radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and friend, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino, as they talk about all things sex, men, women. Lend them your ears and learn everything you wanted to know about sex and intimacy. Only here on the Alive and Social Network. The term foodie can sometimes come across as a tickle pretentious. BT and Lydia are here to demystify the term and reclaim it for the sake of good food. Their weekly podcast brings in fellow foodies and culture creators from the Twin Cities to talk about all things food. Find this duo only on the Alive and Social Network.
All right, we're back. Jeff Dubay Show. Now, I always try to couch some of these remarks about North Dakota hockey because I hate North Dakota's hockey program. I despise it. But when I say that, again, I like to go with the disclaimer that there's different levels of hate. This is sports rivalry hate. It's in jest hate. This is not Al Qaeda hate. This is not ISIS hate. All right, this is. It's a team you just want to see lose at any cost. Now, I've got a lot of friends, believe it or not, who are North Dakota hockey fans, and I get along with all of them. They're good guys. Then they understand. They don't want to see Minnesota win either.
That's right.
And if you didn't hate this opponent, if they didn't hate you, it wouldn't be as much fun. So it's just what the whole thing's. You got to care. You got to have something to care about, or sports loses its interest. But saw North Dakota lose to BU over the weekend, and it is. I'm enjoying this because they rode us for so many years for having the Gophers had great teams for 20 years and they couldn't win a title. Woog had these fantastic teams. He'd take them to Frozen Fours, and it's in one and done situations. There's a lot of luck involved when you're playing hockey in one and done. But when you go through 20 years of saying, we got unlucky here, we had a bad break here. Yeah, people just say, whatever. Just you're the chokers. You're the golden chokers. North Dakota has gone since 2000 without a title. We're talking 15 years. So I mean, they're
getting there. They're getting there.
Well, I mean, I promise you, when we were 15 years in, we'd been hearing it for years. All right, so, and Hackstall is 1-8 in semifinals now, I believe, in the Frozen Four. So he's won one semifinal ever. It was against the Gophers in 2005 in Ohio, in Columbus. I was there, and that's the only time he's even gotten to the title game. Now I'll say this. And this, going back to the years under Woog and how it relates to Hackstall, I've seen a ton of bad luck for both. I mean, for one thing, the game Thursday, North Dakota makes it 2-1. Did you see it? They made it 2-1, and they were owning play. I mean, they were all over. I mean, it looked like they were coming hard. And then
I only saw it in bits and pieces.
And then McIntyre gave up 2 shit goals. Well, I mean, one was a one-timer that was just ripped from inside the blue line, but there's no screen or anything. The goaltender's usually going to make that save. Then he gave up a horrible weak angle goal. And it's over. It's 4-1. Just like that, it's over. But speaking of chokes, the BU goaltender, Jesus Christ.
What the hell was that?
Oh, my God.
You know what, though? That's a little bit of karma. Do you remember a few years ago against Miami of Ohio in overtime
I said the same thing.
in the national championship
I said the same thing. Well, not to mention, like 2 goals in the last 30 seconds to tie it. I mean,
right.
It was the luckiest title ever.
Yep.
But, I mean, going back to like Minnesota's run, I went to the 1987 Frozen Four in Detroit, the Joe Louis Arena, Hercus Circus. Remember the Hercus Circus, the North Dakota Fighting Sioux?
Yep.
That was their year. And we get there, and we're playing Michigan State, and it's Michigan State at the Joe, so it's fucking packed with green and white. And the
just like the Big Ten tournament this year?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, just checking. Same thing,
and
okay.
The Gophers get called for like 2 penalties in the first 5 minutes and fall behind 2-0. I mean, it's 2-0 right away. So, but from that point on, for the next 2.5 periods, Gophers dominate this game. They fight back. They do everything right. I mean, they're out shooting them. They're out playing them. They're just in their jock. I mean, the Gophers are all over them, and they tie the game. They tie the game up, and it's tied in the 3rd period. And it's just like a matter of time. It's like, wow, we had these 2 shitty calls early, fell behind, just beat them down and wore them down, and it's 2-2 or whatever, 3-3. 3rd period. Puck comes rimming. Remember how much talk there was in the Big Ten tournament about the lively boards at Joe Louis Arena?
Yes.
Well, the puck gets dumped into the Gopher zone. It's ringing around the boards. And John Blue goes behind the net to play it, and it hits the goddamn Zamboni door and pops out front, and they stuff it in an empty net, and the Gophers lose. So, I mean, it's Randy Scarta hits the inside of the post in 1989.
Harvard.
I mean, you go these long stretches and you don't win it. I mean, you got to get a break once in a while. I mean, look at the Gophers, how the break they had to get to win in 2002.
That's right.
In 2003, they were getting done by Michigan. Michigan was all over them.
Yes.
It was 2-0, and they were looking dead in the water.
And Vanek took that game over.
Yeah, he did. And but you had there's our boy Ryan Lefebvre. What's up, Rhino? My boy right there. He's in my wedding. My wedding. God. Yeah. He's such a, that's almost funny to even. Oh God! How many people just break out laughing when they think about the fact that they were ever married? Oh my God! Oh well. Anyway, hey Ryan Lefebvre, how you doing, buddy? Hey Rhino. I know I'm so flustered right now. I don't know if I can get back on track. Oh my God, I was married, wasn't I? Oh my God.
Puck luck. That's what we're talking about.
But
Here we go.
Well, I mean, you watch like stuff that's happened in North Dakota in recent years. I mean, they deserved a far better fate than what they received Thursday night. Although they got breaks of their own too. When they were down 4-1, did you see the BU goalie misplay that?
Yes.
I mean, so he fucked up both nights. I mean, he almost
That's
fucked
right.
up the whole tournament. He was out to Adam Hauser. I shouldn't say that. Hauser won it all.
You won a title.
He won it. But one thing, I love Adam Hauser. I think he's a really nice kid. I tried to help promote his goalie camps a little bit when he opened them up. But, I mean, people forget. People want to come back with a trump card about how he won the title. He was phenomenal against Michigan in the semis. Mm-hmm. He did everything he could to give away the main game. He gave up 2 of the worst. He gave up a wrist shot from the point where he reached down with his glove and it went under his glove.
Just went under it.
And then he gave up a gush shot from the goal line in the corner that was bouncing. I mean, he gave up. If people want to go back and watch the 3rd period of that game, Adam Hauser gave up 2 of the worst goals you were ever going to see. And if the Gophers had lost that game, he would have gone down in history as what the fuck were those? I mean, he got bailed out.
Side note, as Dubay likes to get sidetracked once in a while, I will too. I'm getting ready to move. I'm cleaning stuff out of my attic, and I see a VCR tape of the 2002 National Championship game up in a box in the attic, so I might have to get that converted to DVD.
I think I do have a DVD of it.
So another sidetrack. What was being in attendance? What was your best Minnesota sports event that you were in attendance for? I was at Game 7 in '87.
Yeah.
And I was at 2002 National Championship, and I think I would take the 2002 National Championship.
Yeah, but I was also at Game 7 of '91. and that's
I was at 6 and not 7.
no. But see, that's six is just as
know.
good though. Which one do you think is better, 6 or 7? I mean, Puckett. I mean, 6 is to see you tomorrow night. Puckett, get on. I'm driving the bus. Makes the catch against the glass.
You got to go 7 because of what it means.
But 7 for Jack Morris. I mean, those to me, those are 1 and 2 in Minnesota sports history. The Frozen 4 in 02 was amazing, and I can put that up to with like Game 7 of '87, but the Game 6 and 7 of '91, you did just back to back extra innings. You can't make that up.
No, they were
phenomenal. Was Puckett's extra innings or was it bottom of the ninth? I mean, it was walk off.
I think the home run was extra innings.
Okay, so it's back to back extra inning games. Well, I mean, it just
that whole series was crazy.
It was. Yeah, I tell the story all the time to the point where it's probably starting to get stale. But one of my favorite memories of working for the Twins. You remember the extra inning game? It was 3 or 4. Where
let me guess, Mark Lemke beat us.
Where Aguilera had to hit.
Okay,
you remember that? I mean, it was like the 15th inning.
14th or 15th.
And I walked into TK's office. You know, he's got a suit and tie on. He's ready to go get on the team bus. He's got a plate of food that he hasn't touched. And he's just kind of sitting there like with a million-mile stare. and he goes, Jeffy, he goes, I've been going over this, over and over and over into my head. And he says, I knew by the 5th inning that if this thing went extras, I was going to get in a situation where I was going to have a pitcher hit. I mean, and he said, this is in the 5th inning. I'm like, I look at him puzzled. And he goes, I started thinking if I do this, Bobby's going to come back with this. And if I do that, Bobby Cox was the manager of the Braves. If I go here, Bobby does this. If Bobby forces my hand here, then I got to come back with this. And it was just like, one tangent off. And it was like watching A Beautiful Mind, like with the algorithms going off and above his head. And he had an answer for every variable. That every situation that came up led to a different scenario. And he said that every single road led back to the fact that if this thing went into extras, he was going to get in a spot where he's going to have a pitcher hit, or else come back with a position player pitching. I mean, he had that figured by the middle innings. I mean, that's how these guys think. It's just mind-boggling.
National League's a little more difficult than the American League, isn't it?
Well, a little bit. I mean, double switches aren't the thing of genius, but I mean, it does make things. It puts you in tougher spots.
Would you want Gardy to make one?
I think he could handle it.
Okay,
but it does limit your options. There's no doubt that it limits your options.
I can't believe we got back to baseball, my least favorite of everything, and now we're back to baseball.
You don't like baseball?
Not anymore. I grew up with baseball, but now I can't do it.
Why? Because we suck, or
that? Or last night I flipped on ESPN to get caught up on the news of the day at 10:10, and the Yankees and the bleeping Red Sox are on.
Still
and it's in the 7th
yes!
inning. It was the 7th inning.
I was so mad. I turned it on. It was somebody's hitting a home run in the 8th.
The 7th inning.
Yes, Yankees.
4.5 hours every time.
For one thing,
unbelievable. It's so bad.
And it's not like they're the two best teams in baseball right now. I mean, it's just
the Yankees are terrible.
Yes, it's like who cares?
Bring the Yankees to Target Field, please.
Oh my God. Ugh. And their games are so slow. I don't know why.
It's awful.
I don't know why. Why do they play such slower games than the rest of the league? I don't understand the need for all the showmanship and all the the pitching changes, and it just. I mean, like Major League Baseball
to a halt.
Major League Baseball is averaging 2 hours and 54 minutes a game this year.
That's a marked improvement, isn't it?
That's livable. I mean, an NFL game takes 3 hours and nobody gives a shit. I think that's a livable number. I think we can all be okay with that.
It's the same too. People complain about the length of the college football games and stopping the clock, and it happens once a week. I'm fine with it. I don't care if a college football game goes 3 hours and 40 minutes.
You don't have to change anything about college football. I mean, you don't have. I mean, it's on a Sunday, on an NFL Sunday. You got games at noon, and then 3 or now 3:15, whatever. They've learned to adjust.
College, you can.
But college, they start everywhere.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you've got 3 slots for the Sundays. You got early game, late game, and night game, and they have to fit into those slots.
And now London game, so we'll have 4 slots.
Oh yeah. Well, but it's nice to have that early morning game. That was kind of cool this year. That day they did that. But with college football games start at 11:30, 2:30. I mean, there's games kicking off every hour, every half hour throughout the country, all the way up to like fucking midnight if you got a game from Hawaii. It just they're not having to fit into any different time slots or certain time slots. So college football is fine the way it is. Just absolutely leave that alone. It's and like you said, it's not like you're at work. You're watching a football game. Who cares?
It's Saturday.
Yes, I don't see what the problem is. It's just anybody. It shows people who complain about anything. Anyway, any closing thoughts on the week that was? I mean, it was a big week.
Yeah, there's enough going on between the Frozen Four and the Masters and the Final Four. When I was a kid and still now, it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. But think about it: 7 more years for the Sioux to go titleless, and they'll tie us for that drought
They could
number.
do it.
You know,
They could do it. Look, I farted again.
Oh, that's great. The other thing too with college hockey, Jeff, your favorite thing as we end. Yale won 1 2 years ago. Providence is a 4 seed this year. It seems like the parity is just crazy now.
I said the same thing the other day, that the NCAA tournament is almost becoming tarnished to me because really mediocre hockey teams are winning it. It's starting to bother me. I mean,
it's a crapshoot.
Hockey's not a single elimination type sport. And I mean, I really do honestly believe this isn't sour grapes, but you go back to Michigan State's last title and Yale. And I mean, Yale a couple years ago, Providence. These are slightly above average hockey teams. I mean, they're not. Now, Yale is a really mediocre hockey team. Michigan State was really ordinary. They couldn't score at all.
Really ordinary.
They had nothing.
Yep.
It's so easy for teams to get hot for these 4 games. And now Providence is a really mediocre hockey team, a really, really mediocre hockey team. But again, they got hot and did it. And North Dakota was a very, very good team this year. BU was a very good team this year. Mankato State was a very good team this year. I mean, but these really good teams, they just. For some reason or another, they just keep falling by the wayside. And then the Yales of the world. I still can't make up my mind about Union because Union beat Boston College in Minnesota. So I got to give them some props.
And they were good, but they were all 23 years old.
Yeah.
24 years old.
Yeah.
You think about that 2005, for example, and it was all WCHA teams. Mm-hmm. That feels like it was the last time there was 4 big name teams and programs involved in the Frozen Four.
I mean, 2 years ago, the championship game was Yale-Quinnipiac. You couldn't have paid me. You couldn't have paid me to watch that. And I'm a college hockey fanatic. You couldn't have paid me to watch that garbage. And it is garbage. Yale's garbage. They were nothing. The Gophers played a dog shit game. Do you remember that game? They played horse shit the whole game. And then they flipped a switch in the third and pumped a couple in. And then Marshall just turned one over in his own end. That ended it.
12 seconds in.
I mean, just gave the puck away. He was behind his own net, looking to make a breakout pass.
Whiffed on
it, and it just trickled out front, and somebody slammed it in. I mean, and then I guess Yale had enough confidence to beat North Dakota somehow the next night. But, I mean, thank God. But, I mean, what a mediocre shit hockey team that was. I am getting sick of it. I mean, the list of national champions in hockey, it is not a who's who anymore. I don't know why.
BC's little run of 3 and 5 years.
Yes.
In between those titles and the last few have just been
really disappointing.
Yeah.
Just laced with mediocrity.
You could have just picked it out of a hat before the season started and said, okay, there's your winner.
But for those who didn't see what happened Saturday night, whether they care about college hockey or not, just from a human drama standpoint, it was intriguing. Because BU is playing at home, although Providence is right there next door anyway. BU is playing Providence at the TD Garden in Boston. It's 3-2 in the third, and Providence is putting on a lot of heat. I mean, they dominated that third period. I mean, they came and they just kept coming. And a guy flips one in from center ice, just a big, high, soft lob in from center ice. That's going to fly over the net. It's going to go over the net and into the corner. But the goaltender gloves it and then somehow drops it
into his armpit or between his elbow and his rib cage something.
He panics and drops to his knees, knowing that I've lost this puck and I don't know where it is. And he drops to his knees, and you see it trickle through his legs and into the net. And all of a sudden, it's a 3-3 game. And like a minute later, Providence scored again, like a legit goal to go ahead for it. It was like a minute or two later. Wasn't it pretty quick? I mean, it seemed really quick because they were at that point they were all over him. But I mean, did you see the fat chicks crying?
No, I didn't.
There were a couple. They're scanning the crowd, looking for the agony of
the BU weeping blondes.
They were, but these were a couple of terriers. I mean, these were a couple of bulldogs. These were a couple of bruisers. I think they were like on the women's wrestling squad. But I mean, they were just weeping, just beyond inconsolable. It was. I mean, it had to be heartbreaking, but I mean, it was. That never hurts me to see a fat chick cry. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean that. I would have fucked him. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean that either. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I don't mean that.
On that note,
do I need to fill really quick here?
I don't mean that either. It's just a joke. Let's all relax. I wouldn't have fucked him. Not even with McGovern's dick. Oh, we're out of here. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for coming in. Hey, tomorrow, I think we're at Floyd's. Not the barber shop, the bar.